We're joined now by U.S. Representative for Alabama's 5th Congressional District, Mo Brooks. Thanks for joining us tonight, Mo.
My pleasure.
So you right now are in your 5th term in Congress, and over the past 10 years, North Alabama's changed a lot and grown a lot. So what do you think right now are the challenges facing our area, and what have you done in your current term to help?
Well, I serve on both the Armed Services and Science, Space, and Technology committees, and with that growing seniority, I've played a role in helping to ensure that the country knows what we can do in space and national defense. And as a result, we've brought in a lot of jobs to Redstone Arsenal and the surrounding communities. Also with Toyota Mazda, interacted with their leadership, helped play my part in encouraging them to come to the Tennessee Valley. So right now, we're booming. Our economy is, which means the challenge is keeping up with infrastructure needs. So I lobby the governor periodically and others, trying to make sure that we get I-565 6-laned all the way as close to Decatur as we can get it. Other infrastructure needs that we can assist with at the federal government level. So those are a priority because of our past successes, and then also moving forward as we bring in more jobs like what we're doing on Redstone Arsenal with the 1,000+ people that we expect to come in with the new FBI facility that's going to be opening up as soon as we can get the construction completed.
Yeah, we are growing, no doubt about that. So if you are to win this election, what will be your priorities going forward?
Well, I want to continue doing what I've done in the past, and apparently that's what the voters want me to do, as evidenced by the fairly large numbers with which they have reelected me. Focus on local needs, continue with the seniority that I've built up on the Space and Armed Services committees, protect our role in those two industries, while at the same time making sure that we deal properly with some of the major issues. We've got huge battles facing us. Socialism or free enterprise, which way do you want to go? I am strong 100% behind free enterprise. Socialism is dangerous, so I've got to help explain that to the public nationally so that they can better understand those dangers so that we don't experiment with it like a lot of other failed countries have done. Then you've got a burgeoning deficit and debt that we have to deal with. $1 trillion deficit this year. That's roughly 25% of the money that's being spent at the federal government level is borrowed, money we don't have to borrow to get, can't afford to pay back. Our total debt now is about $23 trillion. We have to have more financially responsible people in the United States House and the United States Senate. So I'm going to continue to focus on that to try to minimize the risk of a national insolvency and bankruptcy. And then, of course, a big one that I work closely with President Trump on is border security. We simply cannot afford to bring in the world's population in the United States of America, particularly when the average cost to taxpayers per illegal alien or lawful immigrant is in the neighborhood of $9,000 to $10,000 apiece. That's hundreds of billions of dollars that we American taxpayers are paying in higher taxes to pay for and subsidize those who want to come in from other countries. So in that regard, I'm very thankful that the President pursued the public charge rule, which means we don't have to let you into our country if you're going to be on our welfare when you get here. You need to establish to us that you can pay your own way, which is the way it was in America for the first 2 or 3 centuries of our existence.
And I know on your website you were described as being tough on crime. We've had kind of a problem in Alabama recently with repeat offenders when people get out of jail or out of prison. What are you doing in Washington that is helping that problem here?
Well, by way of background, I used to be a prosecutor in the Tuscaloosa District Attorney's Office. I managed the grand jury while there. I used to be the district attorney here in Madison County. And as such, I've seen the underbelly of Alabama society. I've seen the criminals. I've seen the victims and the hardship, the harm that is caused to them by those criminals. So I'm a law and order guy, and I'm not a soft on crime guy. So when we had legislation, by way of example, recently that made it softer penalties on criminals who have victimized Americans all across our country, I voted against it. Unfortunately, there are more of those in the House and in the Senate who wanted to be soft on crime than there were those that wanted to be tough on crime in order to deter criminal conduct in the future on the one hand, or to put behind bars those people who continue to be a danger to society. So that's where I come from when you talk about criminal law. But we have 535 congressmen and senators who all think differently, and all you can really do is cast your vote, and try to persuade people to join with you.
Yes.
Obviously, when it comes to things like deficit and debt, with a $1 trillion deficit and a $23 trillion debt, ultimately it's down to the American people to choose people from around the country to send to Washington who will be tougher on crime, who will be more financially responsible, who understand the risk associated with open borders. And in that vein, I'm very thankful that President Trump has chosen to endorse me in this race, because he knows I stand side by side with him in making America a great country.
Okay, well, I want to thank you again for coming on tonight and
My pleasure. Thank
talking
you.
with everyone. Thanks for coming on.